Dr. Stephen Lowe, Ryan Listerman, and Jeremy Knox, Esquire. With AdamRevival, what are we? We're 5 days removed from the 2024 election, and we are going to talk about that because, not all of us on this channel right now on this recording have the same political views. We vary in different ways. So I think we have a good spectrum to kind of dissect and see what happens, see how we're feeling and what we can take away from this, because not only did Trump win the Electoral College by 312 electoral votes, which is it's pretty dang big, and that he won the popular vote, dude. He won the popular vote by, I think it was like 3.5 million. I could be off on that, but I believe that's what it's about. So
well,
what do you guys
right now, it's about 3.5. I think they're somehow still counting votes in California.
They have what's because they have house seats they have to take.
Yeah.
But
Guys.
Jeremy, you don't consider yourself Republican, do you?
No, I'm libertarian, so I was losing either way, brother.
Yeah. Ryan used to be a libertarian too.
Yeah, I would say I was like at one point in my life I was an anarcho-capitalist. I think the only what's changed for me over the years is I do understand, like, kind of a realization, and probably a lot of it being down here in Florida for the last 6 years. I see how kind of important it is to have a state leader that can kind of protect you from, because the idea with libertarianism is you kind of have a decentralization of power, and but sometimes the private sector gets too much power, and if you have that head of state that has your best interest in mind, then you can kind of counteract that. But then there's obviously what if you don't have a head of state that has your best interest in mind? So there's kind of the catch-22 there. But I think that's probably why I've a little bit become more into the Republican realm than I was libertarian.
I don't even know if I know what Republican means anymore after this election.
Yeah, maybe conservative, I guess. But yeah, that's a good point, Steve.
Well, I can tell you what I wasn't. I wasn't whatever the Democrat Party has become. Because I couldn't even tell you who's been running the country at this point. Clearly it wasn't Biden, and clearly it wasn't Harris. So the question becomes, who was running the country? I have no idea. Maybe you guys know more than I do, but I heard figure it out.
So I heard, well, first of all, let's start here. The national government per the Constitution really, served a limited scope to begin with. There was really three main reasons for the national government per the Constitution. And that was commerce, so that we had national commerce. We had a national government to deal and trade with foreign powers, and we had a national standing army. Everything outside of that, you get into the three-letter agencies and all this stuff. Those are all unelected, bureaucratic, bloated administration. All of those entities, we're about to see a constitutional awakening. Especially if Elon Musk says what he's gonna, if he does what he says he wants to do. All of those are unelected officials. So when we look at who is running the government, well, your guess is as good as mine, but I say just follow the money. I mean, they're running the government. Whoever is pulling the puppet strings, and I would say it's probably corporate money, and probably global corporate money. I would say, whatever that looks like, they're also utilizing the bloated bureaucratic state of America to run things intricately, right? ATF, DEA, Department of Education, EPA, all of these things are tentacles of the octopus. So who is pulling the strings? Dude, I don't know. We could say BlackRock, whatever, Rockefeller, and yada yada yada. I think those are the easy answers, but I really don't know if anyone could. I just don't think they want to be seen, and I don't think we can see them.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah, I think it's just the bigger. Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
Well, I was going to say, but isn't that terrifying to a certain extent if we don't know?
Yeah.
Who's pulling the strings? I mean, that's concerning.
Well, it's very concerning. And when you look at the system as a whole, you go, well, okay, it's easy. It's the lowest hanging fruit is to point our fingers at the Democratic Party and go, they've lost their minds. But it's like, you point your finger at the Democratic Party, and then you realize that all of the media is saying the same thing as the Democratic Party. All of social media is censoring anything that goes against the same thing as the Democratic Party. So there's this whole, and then outside of America, you look at all of Western civilization. France is doing the same thing. Canada is doing the same thing. Pretty much all of Europe's doing the same thing as the Democratic Party, and that is censorship and global takeover. I mean, the easy word for me is communism. This right here looks like soft Stalinistic communism to me. Control the oppressor and shove through the agenda. That's where we were headed. And this election was the most consequential election of the United States history. Period. End of story. We were going one way or the other.
We were continuing one way. I would say that we'd already been on that track for a long time, and it looked like we were continuing on that track. But certainly I wasn't sure what to expect, but definitely wasn't expecting that on Tuesday. That was encouraging, and even here in Florida, we I loved it. They were talking about how Florida was in play, and I mean, it was called for Republicans by like 8:30. Like it was over.
So stupid. It was so stupid.
Yeah,
they tried throwing anything at the wall.
We flipped OCL. We flipped Miami-Dade County. It was in play.
like big time too. But I mean,
and we defeated abortion.
They were saying she was winning Iowa. Like 2 days before the election, they're like, she's winning Iowa, and everyone goes, no, she's not, dude. That's a bold-faced lie. But that's what people are sick of, dude. They're sick of. It's like we've come to this culture of, do not believe what your own eyes see, right?
Yeah.
Only believe what you're told. Believe what you're told. And man, much of society is along that train of thought, and it's going to take some serious revelation to bring people back to normal. To get people to trust their own, beliefs and thoughts again.
What are your guys' biggest takeaway from this election? What do you think it meant? What do you think is under message of or what do you think the people were trying to say with this election?
I think Jeremy can respond to this one. I'll hit it after him, but I think he's got a good perspective.
I have a little bit different take on it because obviously, there's a large group of people that are very hurt, and and they're gonna complain about what happened and have blame about what happened and second guess what they did or didn't do, and then you're gonna have a group that's elated and happy. And it's basically half the country and a little bit less than half the country if you look at just the numbers.
Yeah.
My take on it is this. We all live in the greatest country in the world. I don't think anybody can dispute that. We have such a great foundation for having just a fantastic life and just a way of life. And there's a lot of people that are polling for the United States right now. So what I would like to see is the people that are, gonna get in people's face and go, I told you so, and this is great, and we win, and then you have the other group that goes, I told you so, this is going to be terrible. Just get on the same page, because really this is about the United States. This is about getting better. This is about working together. And I know it sounds cheesy, but that's really the essential of what it is. I mean, if you look at history and you look at, all the politicians, I mean, there were politicians that ran really aggressively against one another and really, got sometimes too personal. But at the end of the day, they shook hands and they said, you know what? This is a great country. I have different views than you. You have different views than me. But we have one common goal, and let's continue to get better and be great. And I think, again, I don't want to sound too cheesy, but I think we need to get there. And I think we just need to just put aside this. I mean, I want to just take a sigh of relief because it's over. I can work with what we have right now. We have very intelligent, very good people that are working together to try to make this better and try to fix some of the issues that we've had. And they were glaring, horrible issues. They need to get fixed. They need to get figured out. And the only way to do that is everyone sit down and quit whining and complaining about acting like 8-year-olds on a playground, and sit down and actually try to work together and make this great, because that's really what it's about. It's about being great and continuing to thrive and continuing to enjoy your life. I mean, it's life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there, Jeremy. And I think there
Yeah.
are, because we've never been more divided. Well, we were shooting each other at one point, but as far as politically goes, we've never been. There's not been as much hate and vitriol towards each other since the Civil War, I'd argue. And as much
Well, the Civil War is
as
just a response to that division. So I mean, we're at that level of division. So like,
yeah, agreed.
who knows
Yep.
what the future holds?
Agreed. But I think there's a lot of Trumpers that feel that they've been disrespected and spit upon for the past 4 years, and I feel like there is a knee jerk reaction for them to want to rub this in the left's face. I think there's a lot of leftists that genuinely hate the right. From what I'm seeing, I'm watching a lot of meltdown videos for my own entertainment to get through the workday, and it's great, dude. It's grade A comedy. I recommend it. But anyway, that does need to stop. We need cooler heads to prevail. We need to understand, and I say this to my college class. I say this to every class that I teach, because I teach national government and political science, and I say this to all of them. It's okay to disagree. It's completely fine that we disagree. It's not okay to hate each other. The founding fathers of this country, and you talked about a nasty election. You go back to, like, what was it, Hamilton? I forgot who he was running against, but it was way too personal. It got way too much vitriol and disdain. But the founding fathers all disagreed. Every one of them disagreed in part, and they were all able to find a middle ground and do what was best for the country. And they viewed each other as Americans. There was a common goal for success, a common goal for, like you said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we need to get back there. And I do say that, I will say this, Donald Trump has been genuinely calling for unification throughout the campaign. Yeah. And even after he's won, he's calling for unification. He put out a truth or a tweet, whatever it is, the other day. And he said the DNC has they essentially bankrupted themselves. They went $20 million in debt running the Kamala Harris campaign. You know what he said in that tweet? He said, we need to pull together and help the DNC financially so that they don't sink. Like, what? How much more unifying do you get than that? Put that, not just words, actual, the people who have called you, the mustache man and trashed you, lawfared you, gone after your children, tried to end your life. These people he's calling for unification with. Come on, man. There's nothing more American than that. We all get behind that?
I mean,
So
it's perspective too, right? Because we witness a person get shot, and
right.
The reaction to that was very telling. I mean, there were actually people out there that wished this person got shot. Dude. I mean, where are we when? I mean, it's always perspective. I mean, we talked briefly before this started. This is an interesting day for you, Steve, and
yeah.
It's all perspective. I mean, no matter how bad things get, life is important, and values are important, and you fight speech with speech. You don't fight speech with bullets. Now, right. There is a time and a place for that, but that's the absolute last resort. It's not in our United States elections to be trying right. to murder people for a point, or because you don't agree with what someone says. And that's where I started going, okay, this is now the time that we need to actually look at and get perspective on where we are. And everyone has the same goal, or at least, I would hope so. Everyone wants this country to be great, and everyone wants this country to thrive. And we can't do it if people are excited about someone almost dying. And we got to get perspective back. And that's what I took away.
Well said. Very well said.
So yeah, my takeaway on this thing is, which was to Steve's point, I have definitely enjoyed watching some of the meltdown videos. I
It's
did
just
I
like
did
comedy
make
gold.
yeah, I know. I have basically not publicly. I didn't want to rub it in. Like I just didn't feel like one. I think that's weakness. Anyways,
I
we
agree.
talk a lot about men and strength in this, and like it's you take a W, like you flip the ball to the ref and you go line up to play another down because the game's not over. Um,
Correct.
I will say from a conservative standpoint, I think that conservatives should certainly not gloat too much because I didn't take from one thing I didn't take away from this election is I don't think it was a conservative referendum. I think it was a referendum against how the left has gotten. But I don't
How
think it was
far left?
necessarily, yeah, I don't think it was a referendum saying, hey, we need to get back to conservative principles. Um, so I
Just
would say
normalcy.
that, yeah. So I think that the conservative side should I think it's a great opportunity that I've made this point to a couple people that there's a reason why Donald Trump, who was a lifelong Democrat, came to the Republican Party. It's because the founding ideas of conservatism allowed for like the the America First. There was that foundation there of life and pursuing life that made it so welcoming to him, so that you know and he's obviously brought a lot of people to the party kind of that were centrists or libertarians or maybe even some center left people that don't necessarily view the country as conservative. Now we have this opportunity like, hey, there's a reason why we didn't lose our minds completely and they did. So let's look at some of the core principles that we hold dear that maybe that you can find in the church pew. um, and this might be this next 4 years a great opportunity for Christian men to kind of talk to bring some more people into the fold because I think
I
people are open to it.
I literally have said that, and I put out a little short video the other day, and I said, from a Christian perspective, you know, there is no better opportunity to introduce someone to our faith as of right now, like literally
Yes.
right now, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
if we do respond by dragging them across these people's foreheads, well, no, that's a wasted opportunity. That's kind of
Yeah.
proving them
Exactly.
right about a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
things, and it's like
That's why. Yeah.
I genuinely love people, dude. Like, I don't care what your political thoughts are. I could care less. Like, I love
Yeah.
people, and we need to get back to putting life first and happiness first. Like, what does it matter what we disagree upon? Right? That has
Yeah.
become the overarching theme of our society. Is what do we disagree on? And it's like, no, no. How about we view each other as human beings again and talk to each
Yeah.
other again? Like, there could be a pink or green haired liberal standing in the Walmart's line in front of me who hates my guts and wants me to die. If someone tries to harm that person, I'm going to do my best to protect them
Yeah.
because they're a human being, right? That's reality from my perspective.
You also have to let stuff go. Like, there's a part of
Just
me
grow up.
when we yeah when we got the W, there was a part of me that remembered that first time they tried to make us wear masks in a store, and I wanted to be like, I just wanted to like, I want my
Yeah.
just drag it across their face, get my revenge. But I also remember like, hey, you know what? One, I just didn't wear it, and I
Right.
just went about my day. Two, it's like gotta let that go. Like that's over.
You got to let
That's
it
years
go.
ago
It
now. At this
doesn't even
point,
matter
like it's
anymore.
time to move
Doesn't even
forward.
matter.
And yeah, so that's I think everyone on our side should not gloat. I mean,
What do you
you know,
so what do you make of this new political alignment that is the Donald Trump administration? Because to me, I think during any of our lifetimes on this broadcast right now, this is the first time that we have seen the political divide start to just break down and fracture to where we have Democrats coming over to perhaps the most Republican, ideology ever. We
yeah,
got RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, and there were several other Democrats that came over along Trump, and they just said, "Look, I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I love this country. And if we don't get behind this man and get behind this idea, that, our country's over. And then you got to give it to Trump also. He came out and you're right. He's a lifelong Democrat. Is he a Republican? And I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's an American.
No, it doesn't matter.
That's what we're starting to learn. We're starting to learn that being an American, loving your nation and loving other Americans is above and beyond an R or a D, right? So where do you think we go from here, though, is my question. Like, where do we actually go from here?
Well, to your point. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was gonna say I like where we're going. I like Tulsi Gabbard a lot. I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard. I think Tulsi Gabbard is a great candidate. I think RFK Jr. is a great candidate also. I've always liked RFK Jr. I'm just gonna say it. Unfortunately, his voice is a problem.
It is.
RFK Jr., I think if he had a quote unquote normal voice, would be a force. But he is difficult to listen to, and it's kind of a problem. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's reality. But his ideas and his thoughts and his love for the country are very apparent. So I love that guy. I love Tulsi Gabbard. I like Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk. I
love Musk at this point.
Yeah. I think Elon Musk is. I mean, that's the thing. If you're gonna turn the keys over to somebody, is it going to be an empty suit who you have no idea who's actually running the country, and a guy that has been basically had dementia for the last 4 years, or do you turn it over to a cabinet of Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, these are good, intelligent people. Yes, some people may not agree with everything they say. I don't agree with everything they say, but I would much rather hand those guys the keys to take over a country and try to make it great. I don't think I'd let Harris and Waltz watch my dog for the weekend because I don't know what the hell they are. I don't know what
dude.
Yeah.
I know.
I seen a funny video about Elon Musk. I think to the point of like Steve talking about how we're kind of really opening up to Elon Musk and how cool the dude is. But it was from his ex-wife was talking about him and how like when they first met, he was already very wealthy, and he's like, hey, you want to come back to my hotel room and watch videos of rockets? And she's like, yeah, okay. Like, it's like, yeah, we get back to hotel rooms and, we're going to bang. And they literally watch videos of rockets. Like, he had no interest in trying to get her pants. He just wanted to watch videos of rockets.
I love that.
That's
so
hilarious.
Much, that.
That's so funny. Yeah.
And I will add that, I want to speak to the Christians real quick. We need to start accepting people that aren't Christians, right? And I'm not saying that we're condoning anything. It doesn't matter. People are allowed to believe in what they want to believe, man. Like, that doesn't mean we love them less. That doesn't mean that we treat them differently. And there has been I would say much of the views of modern Christianity, a lot of it is modern Christianity's own fault. And I mean that. It's the holier than thou type of thing. Like, there's a lot of Christians that could possibly say, and did say, I can't get behind Donald Trump because of X, Y, and Z. I can't get behind Elon Musk because of X, Y, and Z. And these are personal characteristics or things that they disagreed with that they said or did. And it's like, dude, we got to grow up. We got to grow up.
Yeah. We're a country, and we're not.
Right.
We're not a church. We're not a synagogue. We're not a temple. We're a country. So you have to be understanding and tolerant. And Steve, you and I have known each other for a while, and we've had really good discussions. I respect you. You respect me. We don't agree on 100% on anything, but we do agree that it's about being a good person. It's about, helping others. And however you get there, that's okay. And you know what? One day I might get to where you guys are. It could happen.
Yeah.
I'm never against it. And I'm never, I'm always growing as a person. So I will say this, it doesn't matter. One time, talk about perspective. I mean, imagine if we only had 25 people and we were back in the tribal days. I
Yeah.
mean, we would value those 25 people, and we
Yeah.
would accept those 25 people because we need those 25 people. I
Yeah.
think because we're a country of millions, that you lose perspective on that. I mean, we're
Yeah.
still all humans, and if you're a religious person, I mean, I'm not going to start preaching because that's not my expertise. But if you're a human, you were made in the image of God. I mean, that's what
Right.
religion teaches. So
Yeah.
you have to be accepting, and not everyone's always going to agree with you. But that's the beautiful thing about this country is we can say and do almost anything we want so long as we stay within the parameters of our laws, which are really based upon a lot of the teachings of religion, because our country was founded on religion. Let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yep.
so there's those undertones in everything. So I agree with you, Steve. I mean, and Ryan, I mean, I respect what you guys are. I respect what you guys say. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but I will always respect it. And it comes from a good place. And I think as long as you're coming from a good place, and then we're good.
And
And
I agree with you, and back at you. And I
Yeah.
will say, a friend that you and I have in common is a Muslim, entirely different than both of us, and we could sit, I'm not going to say any names, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. But we were like a
I would
trio for
all
years.
one thing to you brought up, like speaking strictly to Christian, because we are a Christian show here, so speaking directly to the Christian, especially the Christian men, and I know that there was probably a lot of evangelicals and a lot of religious people that had a problem voting for Donald
There
Trump,
were,
and
there were, dude.
and the biggest thing was the life issue, because he's kind of
Well, he's done
he
the
tried,
the exceptions.
yeah, exactly. So like with he didn't make it a central part of his campaign because, and I agree with him on the standpoint of it's not a federal issue. It's because, like, to your point, the federal government's not supposed to be not supposed to make your everyday common law. They're supposed
Right.
to be the barter between territories and protecting borders. So I've always agreed with that. That was always my libertarian stance on that, even though I was always been pro-life. But we did lose ground in the pro-life movement in these last two elections, just from the standpoint of, like, it's obvious that the electorate is here. I'll give you an example here in Florida. We had the abortion law, big time abortion law was on the ballot, but it needed it was going to enshrine it in our Constitution. Well, to get a constitutional amendment passed in Florida, you need 60%, not 50%. You need a supermajority. So it came in at 57 something. So we defeated it, but it was like
It came close.
it was close.
That's pretty dang close.
And this is a state that Trump carried 57 points. I mean, by
right.
16 points. So it was, and you
That
saw my
almost
post
doesn't even
about
make
how.
logical sense to me. How is
Well,
that?
that's to my point is that our the Republican Party isn't that, like, we've lost ground on that conversation.
Yeah.
Which I can understand where evangelicals are turned off by it, but that's to my point of, like, this is a great opportunity. We have a lot of, especially Trump carried a lot of young men. Like, I think he outright won the young men demographic.
I think he did.
So this is our opportunity the next 4 years of explaining the life, the life view to people that are new to being a Republican or conservative. That the arguments the arguments that have swayed them in the past are based in the same nonsense that has made the Democratic Party who they are today. So I think it's encouraging. I think it's encouraging that we have that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's well spoken, and I think you do bring up a great entrance, a great opportunity. We're at 30 minutes, and I want to talk about
Okay.
the more pressing issue real quick.
Yeah.
So in 4 days, 5 days from now, Iron Mike Tyson is getting in the ring with Jake Paul, and they're gonna box. And I'm sad about it because I feel like it's gonna go one way. No, though, let's talk about that. Who's winning? Who's winning?
Well, I just watched the video, and so Steve, you and I have talked about MMA and specifically more UFC, and you have to admit I've made a lot of really good calls.
Yes, you have.
I'm probably at like 95%.
Yes, you have. Yep.
I've lost a couple, but so my picks have been on, and here's how I do it. I'll usually watch their old style, the old fights, and kind of watch their style, and I'll kind of get a feel for what they've been doing differently. And then I'll watch the weigh-ins, and I'll watch the press conference, and I'll watch kind of like outside of like how they're moving and looking. And you can tell who's looking more healthy sometimes.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, I got to tell you, man, I saw him get out of his car, and it looked like me getting out of my car with a sore back.
Oh.
And I went, dude, you're about ready to go in a boxing match, which it's life or death, man. I mean, those are you can say you want about Jake Paul. The guy can punch. He's knocked out people.
Yeah,
and he's not a small guy either.
Yeah,
he's
Mike
not a small
Tyson,
guy.
man. Mike Tyson's my hero, and I mean, Barry Sanders was a heck of a football player, and I don't want him back on the field, man.
Yeah.
Like he's, so that's how I feel about Mike. It's like, I could be completely wrong. This could be the time that I look bad on my prediction, but I just feel bad to watch Mike Tyson box right now.
How many rounds are they doing? Are they doing the full fight, or is this like
rounds. Is it 8 or 10 rounds?
Are they doing less rounds?
Let's look it up.
Like I know they did less. I think
McGregor
and Mayweather had like a shorter fight. Like Mayweather and McGregor.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was 10 rounds, and I believe it was 2-minute rounds, which are still to the untrained fighter. 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I think it goes the distance, and I think Jake wins because I think that Jake's going to be respectful from it. I think it's going to be like a glorified sparring match where it's
right.
they're not going to go all out. I mean, he just doesn't. It's there's a different. You got, was it 30 years difference between the two? I mean, that's huge. It's not like.
Yeah.
It's not like to your point. It's not like Jake's not a trained fighter. That's
that's all he is
shape.
At this point. You could be anyone on the face of the earth. If you have the money and assets to do nothing but train and do 2-a-days.
And the discipline. And the
discipline. You got to give him that. You know, the guy's crossed the precipice of being, a Disney star to a genuine boxer. Like he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's got his own style. And you can sit there and pick apart his technique all you want, but in all actuality, that this is what he is now, and he's doing a good job.
Would you say he's at least a mediocre heavyweight, like at least in the grand scheme of things? Like
yes.
So when's the last time Mike Tyson's beat a mediocre heavyweight? Like when he was in his 30s, right? Like that's a long time ago.
He had a fight a couple years ago, and it was a sparring match.
With Roy Jones.
Hits to the head, which is good. And Ryan, to your point, if this is going to be a sparring match, then that's fine. It's not
good with
that. That exciting.
Yeah, it's entertainment. It's like
Mike Tyson can still punch hard. He can probably knock out Jake Paul. He's also. How old is he now? I mean,
he's going to be 58 by the time of the fight, I believe.
The guy's 60 years old, and he's had a lot of wear and tear on him. So, I just hope that he's okay. I hope it's entertaining. Of course, I'm going to watch it. It's on Netflix. I'm for sure.
Yeah, like if Jake were some guy that was big and untrained, like a bodybuilder and untrained, like I would say, oh well, he's probably going to catch something from Mike, but he's not. It's not like he's an untrained guy I
will say
slip his stuff and let him wear himself down a little bit, Like
I will say this: Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are also good friends, right?
Oh,
so they are. So and it goes all the way back to the beginning of Jake's boxing career. Mike was a big supporter of that, and I feel like this is going to be designed to be a passing of the torch type moment. I don't, I have fought friends before. I fought friends in MMA. And obviously you're sparring, guys every day that you would consider friends in the gym. But I'm trying to think back. I fought one of my teammates one time, uh, and I did not want to kill him. I don't know if that's going to
Yeah, I
play
was
an
going to
effect or
ask
not.
if
Yeah,
that's
no, I did
if
not
you
want to
got to a
kill him.
point, like obviously the goal is to win, but if you in a situation where it's clearly like you know your skill and you know your opponent, like if you're in a situation where like you're in control, you're not,
Right.
and it's your friend, are you going to go like try
No,
to actually put
no,
him on
you're
the
not.
mat, or are you just going to keep wearing him down a little bit, like just working him and running out the clock, you know?
Oh, right. All right. So final prediction, Ryan. Who you going with?
So basically, not following it, I'm gonna go ahead and say that it goes the distance, and it's a glorified, it's a Jake Paul decision.
Okay, Knox.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that if it's going to be a sparring match and there's going to be kind of that respect there, then yeah, it's gonna go, and I think Jake Paul's probably going to get it.
Okay. I'm going to, looking at it analytically, logically, and rationally, I agree with you guys entirely. However, I'm going
The
against
butt.
all of that. I'm going against all of that. And I'm going to say Iron Mike, KO, round 3, end of round 3. He chins him. He chins him dead. I
I'll
don't
take
know.
Is
I'll take that
Is
fight.
this the Anderson Silva thing all over again, where you always bet against Anderson Silva?
Pretty much. Pretty much. All right, well, let's wrap this one up, boys. Knox, it's been great
All right.
having you back on the channel. We're definitely going to have you back on again. And, thank you for coming on. You got any last words, man?
Nah, man, I appreciate you guys bringing me back, man. It's always good seeing and talking to you.
Perfect. So, Dr. Stephen Lowe, Ryan Listerman, special guest, Jeremy Knox, and that's attorney at law, Jeremy Knox. So we'll see you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. You like our content, it's worth a like, man. We could use the support. We've been getting a lot of support, and we appreciate it very much. America first. God bless. Peace out.